Psalms 51 is a powerful testament to the process of spiritual purification through God's purification. The psalm, traditionally attributed to King David, reflects on the need for repentance and restoration after David's sin with Bathsheba. The overarching theme of the psalm is the acknowledgement of sin and the earnest plea for God's cleansing and renewal. The psalm opens with a plea for mercy and forgiveness, acknowledging the depth of David's transgressions. David recognizes the magnitude of his sin, describing it as transgressions and iniquity, highlighting the need for spiritual purification to cleanse him from his wrongdoing. This acknowledgement sets the stage for the process of repentance and restoration that unfolds throughout the psalm. David's plea for purification is rooted in a deep understanding of God's character and faithfulness. He appeals to God's steadfast love and abundant mercy, recognizing that only God can truly purify and cleanse him from his sin. This demonstrates David's reliance on God's grace and his acknowledgement of God's sovereignty in the process of spiritual purification. Central to David's plea for purification is the recognition of the need for inner transformation. He acknowledges the need for a pure heart and a steadfast spirit, recognizing that true spiritual purification goes beyond outward actions to the innermost depths of the soul. David understands that genuine repentance requires a sincere desire for inner renewal and transformation. Throughout the psalm, David expresses his desire for restoration and renewal in his relationship with God. He longs to experience the joy of God's salvation and to be restored to a place of fellowship with him. This longing for reconciliation underscores the transformative power of spiritual purification, which not only cleanses from sin but also restores broken relationships and brings about reconciliation with God. David's plea for spiritual purification is accompanied by a commitment to obedience and righteousness. He acknowledges that God desires truth in the inward being and wisdom in the secret heart, highlighting the importance of sincerity and integrity in the process of purification. This commitment to righteous living reflects David's desire to align his life with God's will and to walk in obedience to his commands. The psalm concludes with a prayer for God's restoration and renewal of his presence. David pleads for God to create in him a clean heart and to renew a right spirit within him, expressing his desire for God's transformative work in his life. This final prayer encapsulates the essence of spiritual purification, which involves a complete surrender to God's cleansing and renewing power. Psalms 51 underscores the importance of repentance, forgiveness, and inner transformation in restoring fellowship with God. Through David's example, we are reminded of the transformative power of God's grace to cleanse us from sin and to renew us in his righteousness.